This is your First Alert Weather Breakdown, a deep dive into how weather works with meteorologist Evan Thomason.
Hey, good morning. Welcome on into the First Alert Weather Breakdown. I'm meteorologist Evan Thomason. You are watching this live, not only on our usual KSLA.com stream, also on our YouTube page, also on our Facebook as well. We've been making sure to keep you first aware and first alert, especially on our Facebook stream here all week long here, especially in preparation here for this winter storm. First of all, I want to give a good props out to CJ and Jake, who have been giving you constant updates on this weather podcast here all work week long. Now I'm in the saddle here for your Thursday. One last full day to prep up here before the winter storm all starts to arrive here tomorrow night. I want to emphasize the word night to you as well. Again, this does not even happen through the daytime hours, really, of Friday at all. So your work day, your school day here throughout Friday should still be fine. Those effects, again, start to come into the latter half of Friday and lead into, unfortunately, problems here over the weekend. I know it's 11:09 right now. We always say better late than never to do this weather stream. Again, props out for those of you who were watching out our live stream earlier at 10:30. We had a news conference going on about weather at that time frame. But now, we are going to do this First Alert Weather Breakdown right now. We're going to go as late as noon. We're definitely going to cut this off by the noon time frame, just so you know, scheduling-wise. And then the noon KSLA news show will go on. Meteorologist Jake Lambright will have the next update for you then if you're looking for more updates past what I'm about to go over. First of all, again, welcome to those of you on our YouTube and Facebook live streams, again, for watching here for the day today. Let's get into the graphics here for you. I'm setting it up here all behind the scenes. Again, feel free to ask any comments or questions on both our YouTube and Facebook feeds at any point in the streams here coming on up. And just so you know, I will go over each and everything here with you in just a moment. So, hold up. I just realized one thing. Whoop. Hold up. Those weather graphics, I'm putting the wrong weather graphics up for you guys. Give me 2 seconds to be able to get everything up behind the scenes. Bam. There we go. That was Jake. Just so you know what was happening behind the scenes. That was Jake controlling his own graphics. He's already prepping up the noon show currently. I now have... These are my graphics, essentially. I put up the wrong graphics. Anyways, these are my graphics I'm sharing with you here for the day today. Again, First Alert Weather days are scheduled here for tomorrow, for Saturday, and for Sunday. 3 days in a row, all starting tomorrow. So, again, today is the last full day to prepare where you have nothing really ongoing at all here for the day today. Thursday, it's a cloudy day, yes, but a dry day, most importantly here, for the second to last day of the work week with cool conditions in the ArkLaTex before we have a big cold blast on the way, and that allows us to have temperatures cold enough to be able to produce this winter precipitation that's going to be all across the region here for you. At any point between Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we're going to go into the specifics here coming up in this First Alert Weather Breakdown, see if anything's evolved. Again, we're getting into a little more of the specifics. And just so you know, if you've been paying attention to some of these forecasts that have been ongoing for the past day or so, there really hasn't been too much that's evolved or changed that's been drastic, so to speak. But that's actually good, because that means we're gaining confidence that this is actually going to be the forecast. This is what's going to come into fruition. This is what's going to happen around the region here for us, again, between Friday night and Sunday morning. Work and school day just fine. It's once we hop into the weekend that we deal with so much issues ongoing here for us around the region. So let us start by saying that we have a winter storm watch in effect throughout the ArkLaTex. This goes all the way from Friday morning, technically, all the way through midday Sunday. So we want you to stay weather aware here with us. Also notice up to the north, if you look at my blue arrow, that's where I'm pointing here with my clicker behind the scenes. We do have those, I know this is outside of the ArkLaTex, yes, but they've been adding in the pink, which is winter storm warnings. The National Weather Service has been starting to issue winter storm warnings as we're getting closer and closer in time to this actual system coming out and about. They've been issuing them for pretty much all of Oklahoma and most of Arkansas outside of the ArkLaTex. But what this shows us is that they're about to upgrade us here locally to a winter storm warning. What does that mean? Well, again, we're getting closer and closer into the time to where winter like conditions, winter storm conditions, will be in the ArkLaTex here. That's essentially just what that means. Warning kind of means within 24 hours, we can expect any winter precipitation within the ArkLaTex here for you. All right, so that's that plan. All right, so for those of you asking, I see a few comments trying to come in on Facebook and on a little bit on YouTube itself as well. Hey, again, if you have any comments, questions, feel free to ask, number one. Number two, we're going to go over the full forecast first and foremost. I'm going to try to go over this quickly so then I can answer your direct questions and comments, and we can go over that thoroughly. We're going over kind of the basis of what's happening first, and then we're going to go into the nitty-gritty specifics, so to speak. So again, the winter storm watch is in place across the entire ArkLaTex. Here's what's happening. Today and tomorrow, we got this nice cool air mass in place with a lot of moisture. Lots of cloud covers all around. Sunshine's not going to be out, unfortunately, for a while until next week. We'll get into more of that later on. But here is the powerful system coming in from the north. The cold front's going to be on our doorstep around this time tomorrow. It's going to be on our doorstep, starting to feed in a little bit of some moisture. So not only have we already established that the system is incredibly powerful, but this system is moving at a snail's pace. Check this out. Between Friday afternoon, it's just off to the northern end of the ArkLaTex, and then it's crossing over the southern edge of the region Sunday midday. 2 full days for it to basically cross over the entirety of the region here for you. That's essentially the time frame where we're dealing with any kinds of precipitation in the ArkLaTex, period. A 2-day span, 2-day full span, meaning 48 hours, even in the overnight hours and throughout the day there for you, for this cold blast to come on in. So, again, we're dealing with precipitation up until about Sunday midday. We'll take out that future track here in just a moment. But going overall about even what happens after this system, we then get the cold air behind it. Even though we're done with the precipitation about midday Sunday, that doesn't mean we're done with the system entirely. We're still dealing with this Arctic cold blast that's really going to pack in behind here for Sunday afternoon through Monday, especially in the morning hours. We'll get into some of those numbers here in just a little bit about just how cold it's getting. It's going to be the coldest air of the season, guaranteed. Once we get into Monday afternoon, that starts the warm-up. The cold blast is going to start to fade away, and really by Tuesday and Wednesday, we'll start getting things back to where January should be in for the ArkLaTex. But still, a long span of where we're dealing with this major winter storm in place. Overall, here's what you can expect. Ice is likely along and north of the I-20 corridor. That doesn't mean it's not happening south of I-20. In fact, I really think it's going to be a mix between rain and like a combo of rain and ice south of I-20. North of I-20, it's just pretty much mainly ice is just the only accumulation you're pretty much gathering here between that time span, between, again, Friday night and Sunday morning. Major impacts, though, expected. We're talking anything from power outages to travel. Those are the main two concerns, and those are obviously huge concerns first and foremost. And that's mainly because of the freezing rain. The freezing rain and the ice has a weight to it, a weight that unfortunately is going to be hard for many of our power lines to bear. So that's the big issue, and in order for it to be fixed, power companies have to get out there to be able to fix them, and how are they going to do that on very difficult roadways? Again, all of that is the combination of issues here that's at play here with very difficult travel, making power outages not only likely, but power outages may be continuing on for, days, unfortunately. So prepare now here before you're stuck where you're at here for a while. Again, most of that freezing rain along and north of I-20, especially crippling amounts of it. South of I-20, we're still going to have, again, some ice south of I-20. But it's not going to be as much, I'm thinking, as the northern half of the region here for you. Snow, it's technically possible. In fact, I'm expecting maybe an inch or two in specifically areas around the I-30 corridor, but it's not the prominent part of this forecast. In fact, I don't even think it's going to snow at all in Shreveport, for example. All right, let's take a look at the first of 2 future tracks, which I know is all important to many of you. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and get myself out of here so you can see the full picture around the region. All right, so it starts off with a cloudy day today. Again, this is the short-range future track. No precipitation really showing up here for your Thursday. It's just lots of cloud cover around. You start seeing the first rounds of precipitation maybe trying to crawl in here, but not until basically Friday afternoon. Again, that's at the earliest. This really goes to show and stress out that even though tomorrow is a first alert weather day, it's for everything happening Friday night. That's mainly going to happen in areas along and north of I-30. There you start to see it happen more towards the evening hours of your Friday, in for areas of Texarkana, DeQueen, and Idabel, pretty much only. And that extends through the nighttime hours. So even into Friday night, looking at most areas in the northern end of the ArkLaTex, getting in on the freezing rain. Meanwhile, Shreveport and the I-20 corridor southward, I think you're even fine through your Friday night plans. It's not until we get into basically first thing Saturday that everything starts to turn over into that mixed rain, that ice, that sleet mix, and that's going to carry on through the ArkLaTex. Look at that on Saturday morning. Almost a complete blanket of freezing rain and sleet there for you to deal with. And not only that, I'm hoping for some dry breaks in this. I think we will get some, definitely, but take advantage of them, because you see, as I'm going throughout this future track, especially in the northern end of the region, there's not going to be many breaks to take over this huge, long duration of this freezing rain, this sleet, and this whole mixed precipitation that continues to fall in throughout the ArkLaTex. This future track ends Sunday at 5 a.m., but where it's still continuing on through the region. So let's go into the second future track, which showcases kind of the end of this system as well. Friday night, it starts up here. Again, the main thing to track, if you want to be tracking this out on your First Alert Weather app with us while this is happening, is tracking when this line, this line, in between the rain and the freezing rain, that's what you want to be tracking out. How quickly south does it move? That's the big question that this comes on in. So, again, as stressed, areas of I-30 corridor northward are mainly dealing with the freezing rain potential and the ice and the sleet for Friday night. That's only going to be for them. Areas of the I-20 corridor southward, you should still be fine throughout the day on Friday, including Friday night. It's once we get into Saturday first thing that everything starts to roll, the colder air starts to pack further and further southward, turning more of the rain into freezing rain, to sleet, to ice, to all that, which is going to stick onto the roadways. And keep in mind, again, this continues throughout the day on Saturday. One thing to notice is how quick does this freezing line get down to areas of Nacogdoches and Natchitoches? All the way up to this point on Saturday, if you've been staring at Natchitoches, Nacogdoches, maybe Center, Panola County as well, in Texas, you'll be noticing that most of those areas kind of stay in the rain. Most of the rain it's just a rainy day throughout your Saturday, which would be good news for you guys alone. But I do believe that everybody in the ArkLaTex, at least at some point, will be catching in on the freezing rain, the sleet, and the ice, all the mixed precipitation. And most of that for you guys, I would watch out for that late Saturday night and into Sunday morning. If you notice, again, some snow is showing up on the very, very back side of this, only for the area of the I-30 corridor up northward, and that would only be for Sunday morning if snow is going to happen, maybe very briefly for the I-20 corridor. But essentially, if you're going to see snow at all, it's going to be on the very, very tail end of the system before all of us collectively dry out by midday Sunday. That's kind of the timing of how everything works. Now, I want to go into the temperatures, because one of the reasons why the precipitation stays mixed is obviously temperatures below the freezing mark. It needs to be bitter cold in order for any of this to happen. So from Saturday all the way through pretty much Monday afternoon, temperatures are below 32 degrees. In fact, there's some signs that we could be below 32 degrees even Friday night. So the point is, a long duration of where we're dealing with extremely cold temperatures. You're going to have to preserve your heat indoors. I think the coldest temperatures that show up are definitely on Monday morning. And keep in mind, Monday morning is even after, as stressed earlier, Monday morning is after all this precipitation is already done. So even though we're already done with the precip, by Sunday midday, that doesn't mean we're done with the extent to the cold or the extent of the effects of the mixed precipitation, because that mixed precipitation is going to stay at the surface until it melts away. How does it melt away? We need temperatures above 32 degrees. This certainly doesn't help when you have feels like temperatures getting down into the single digits across the whole region. Feels like temperatures in the single digits in for Monday morning. It's going to be bitter cold. The good news is once the sun comes up on Monday, that's going to help us out a lot because then you'll see the temperatures really start to warm up. And yes, temperatures should get above the freezing mark as soon as Monday afternoon. The only thing about that is the highs on Monday are only in the mid to upper 30s. Still cold, still above freezing to try and help out and start melting most of our mixed precipitation, but it's only going to last for a short duration. And it's probably not going to melt away all of the mixed precipitation that we have from the weekend, which is going to be, yes, an intense amount. We'll talk about that in just a minute. But what I'm trying to get at is I don't think we're melting this away until, say, Tuesday or Wednesday afternoon when the high temperatures do get into the 40s and 50s a lot better. So another way to track this out is in time is where are we seeing the ice accumulation day by day by day. First alert weather days, again, are Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. At the end of Friday, it looks like it's only in areas, as stressed, along and north of the I-30 corridor. Keep in mind, this whole time, if you have a quarter of an inch of ice, even that can freeze out the roadways and make travel conditions, completely hazardous. Once you get about a half inch, that's when it puts weight on those power lines and can make things disastrous when it comes to power outages and makes road closures happen, unfortunately, as well. So, again, as stressed, by the end of Friday, that's where we have it only for the northern end of the ArkLaTex. At the end of Friday, is still nothing in terms of ice along and south of the I-20 corridor. So I'm going to stress, if you have Friday night plans, still in areas like Shreveport, Natchitoches, Center, Marshall, those should still be fine. It's once you go to sleep on Friday and wake up on Saturday, there's no going out, I don't think, during the day on Saturday, because you'll see this ice accumulation by the end of Saturday. It pretty much encompasses the bulk of the ArkLaTex, even with a half inch of ice in spots of the I-20 corridor throughout. And it's even showing up in pretty much Coshada, just about, Mansfield, Center, those kind of areas. Again, by the end of Saturday, too, if you notice, the only spots that don't have ice are Natchitoches and Nacogdoches. So it could just be a rainy day in for those spots, don't get me wrong. But we're only dealing with rain in those spots. Then we all collectively add on our ice accumulation even more on Sunday. That's where you start to see that ice then roll into Nacogdoches and Natchitoches there for Sunday morning. And this is what happens as a result. You get ice accumulation, and this is what we really want to keep you first alert with about the system. Again, all it takes is a half inch of ice to provide absolutely hazardous conditions wherever and to cause power outages. And there's many spots that unfortunately could reach up to way over an inch is the point, which is quite bad. So what we're trying to get at by all this is not only is the ice going to be intense and the ice is going to accumulate at a pretty high rate here through the weekend, it won't melt away as shown with those temperatures. It's not going to melt away until Monday afternoon at the earliest. So even though the precipitation is going to stop falling, thankfully, by midday Sunday, it's still going to be around for a while. So unfortunately, going to need to stay in place. We'll watch out for some road closures, maybe even school closures, still showing up here by Monday and by Tuesday itself. Until we finally start getting a good warming trend kicking in, but that's not until Tuesday and Wednesday. So here's what the freezing rain gives us impact-wise. Again, it's completely dangerous to drive. And power outages are likely. I really want to stress that out, especially for the half inch to inch. But, I mean, even in some areas, it's just going to be absolutely brutal. If anybody gets over an inch of ice, which could be, unfortunately, likely. Now, again, to kind of summarize everything up together on some other graphics here for you, here is when you can expect the arrival of mixed precip. As I keep going on and on about Friday. Friday is only impacting areas of the I-30 corridor northward. Excuse me, and that starts on Friday night. So even in spots at Texarkana, you're fine during the work and school day. Just make sure you are in place here for Friday night. Unfortunately, Friday night plans are probably going to have to be canceled for you. But once you get into Saturday, that's when it affects the rest of the region there for you. Pretty much from Texarkana throughout the bulk of the ArkLaTex. And then again, it's only the southern edge of the ArkLaTex that I really think has the chance to only have a rainy day, maybe for Saturday. But even spots in Natchitoches and Nacogdoches are still seeing definitely some ice pile up here by Sunday morning at that time frame. And then, as stressed earlier, it all ends Sunday midday. Excuse me. So we have a chance of ice pretty much everywhere around the ArkLaTex, and a huge amount of it. If you're going to see snow, it's going to be on the northern end of the ArkLaTex only, and rain is going to mix with the ice. Especially rain's going to happen earlier on in the time frame for those kind of areas of Nacogdoches and Natchitoches, to where we could almost have a complete rainy day all day on Saturday in those kind of areas again, and you're mixing it more with ice towards the very tail end of the system coming again through on Sunday morning. So stay weather aware with us here at KSLA News 12. Again, we'll keep you posted here all weekend long. Not only are we getting the mixed precip, but it's going to be extremely cold. High temperatures, again, are only in the 20s and lower 30s. The last thing I want to get over before we get to the 7-day forecast, then we're going to take a break, then we're going to answer viewer questions. Friday, it's dry in the morning. We have mixed precip at night there for Friday in Texarkana. For Saturday, mixed precip all around. By the way, I just made the graphics before the this weather pod actually just started. Let me hide my face actually real quick. We got mixed precip pretty much all day Saturday in Texarkana. If you're going to see snow at all anywhere around the ArkLaTex, it's going to be Sunday morning in spots of Texarkana and north of Texarkana, but that's still, I think, going to be mixed in with some mixed precipitation even then. That's Texarkana. Let's go over Shreveport. Again, 3 first alert weather days between Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. For Friday, Shreveport, I really think it's going to be dry throughout most of the day, and then we're expecting rain at night. Friday night only. I think even Friday afternoon is looking pretty dry here for you. So not much of an issue for Friday alone in Shreveport. That's the point I want to get at in this too. Then we technically could get a little rain nudged in here for still the overnight hours into Saturday, but I'm still expecting mixed precip throughout the bulk of the day there for your Saturday, and that still continues on into your Sunday too. Not much of a chance of, again, snowfall at all in Shreveport or Natchitoches. Natchitoches is the last place I want to go over. Still a rainy night for you guys, but I think the main difference for Natchitoches is that they're mostly getting rain on Saturday. This doesn't mean Natchitoches doesn't have anything to worry about. Again, Natchitoches is still getting in on the mixed precip, which is mainly going to be showing up for them on Sunday morning there for you. Lastly, 7-day forecast here for you. Again, a nice dry day to be able to recoup today before everything happens in the days ahead. You want to make sure you're weather aware with us here on each of our first alert weather days here for Friday night, essentially, and Saturday and Sunday coming on up. Before we thankfully we haven't talked too much about next week. Next week, plenty of sunshine. The soonest any other chance of storms can get in here is going to be Wednesday in the second half of next week, but still a good amount of time to where we're drying things out with sunshine and, most importantly, warming things up. You got temperatures down in the teens again for early next week too. That's going to help, that's unfortunately going to limit how much we're melting that ice until we really get into Tuesday and Wednesday afternoon. It might start a little on Monday, but again, Tuesday and Wednesday will be the helpful days to really help us recover and get out of this system. It's going to be a long system. We'll keep you posted with updates continuously as we've been doing all week, but most importantly, again, we will keep you posted with updates even throughout the weekend. Me and myself included, and the entire First Alert Weather team. We're working around the clock, all right? We are going to take a commercial break here, and when we come back, we're going to answer viewer questions, and we'll be with you on viewer questions here up after this. Welcome back to the First Alert Weather Breakdown. Again, I'm meteorologist Evan Thomas. Thank you for those of you watching on our Facebook and YouTube live streams. Also, we are finally able to get onto our live stream on KSLA.com. So thank you now for those of you tuning in on KSLA.com on our live stream at this hour. We went over a full forecast before the break. Now we are just tailoring the rest of our time, which is about 15 to 20 more minutes. I'm just going to go over for your questions. That's it. I'm going to go over Facebook and YouTube comments. First of all, thank you for those of you being patient and just submitting your questions and still sticking around here through the end of the podcast. Again, I'm here for you to answer any and all questions. I will, as I said, I can be here for 15, 20 more minutes. And then just so you know, real quick before I start doing that, after this, the noon newscast will be on KSLA News 12 at noon. It'll be on the live stream, which you are watching from now, and it will be on, obviously, the TV channel itself, too. And Jake Lambright will have your latest updates if you want any more information. All right, into the questions, which are mainly on our Facebook live stream. I do not see anything on our YouTube live stream at all. Right? Yes, correct. Just double-checking YouTube real quick. Okay, over to Facebook. All right. What are we looking at for? Thank you, Jess. Again, thank y'all for asking comments and questions. First of all, while I'm talking, let me put a background, or let me put a. I'm going to put a just graphic in the background. I'll change the graphics for questions if I need to. Again, this is the arrival of the mixed precip, when you can expect it to arrive in your own location, and then it all ends again midday on Sunday. Just go quickly over that. What are you looking for in Shelby County? Shelby County. Again, everybody's getting the chance of ice. I do want to stress that out. Let me go into my graphics here. But I will tailor a little bit of a forecast just for you in Shelby County. So Shelby County, again, Friday you're not really getting that many impacts in Shelby County, which is good. Hey, have a nice day on Friday. Enjoy the one more dry day in for you. Before everything kind of starts unraveling there in Shelby County, more towards the overnight hours. And again, it starts as rain. It should start as rain, even on Saturday morning, it looks like. But even then, here's the thing. Even though, like, the mixed precip line continues to, like, slowly but surely shift southward, especially for those of you in the southern half of the ArkLaTex, you're still going to be dealing with lots of persistent rain in the morning hours. Again, the main thing to track and the main question mark is just how far and how quick, not how far, but how quickly south does that line of mixed precipitation move, which as of this future track for Shelby County alone, it looks like you're mainly hanging with a rainy Saturday day itself. It's not until mainly Saturday night that you start catching in on the mixed precipitation, the ice, the freezing rain, the sleet. Starts Saturday night, and then it rolls into your Sunday. Again, Sunday, everybody's in the mixed precip, and everybody's catching in on this. That's when you mainly need to stay indoors before all of it ends midday Sunday. But keep in mind, all that mixed precip, it's staying there. It's staying there. In order for it to melt, we got to warm up. That doesn't happen until next work week. So, unfortunately, yes, that could cause school closures, those kind of other things, in for the first day or two, maybe even more, into next week. Hopefully that answers your question. Chris Allen, just so you know, this is as far up as I can look in the questions on our Facebook feed as well. How's Marshall looking? Marshall, where's my graphics again? There they are. All right, so Marshall, just going back on this again. Again, you're starting out with a rainy Friday, especially end of the day there in Marshall, and that turnover into the freezing rain, the sleet, the ice, all happens around kind of the middle of the day on Saturday. Even then, before then, it's a rainy Saturday early in the morning. He's still not going to want to get out and about all weekend long. And Marshall's going to get in all that mixed precip there throughout the rest of Saturday and into early Sunday. Dallas tomorrow at night, asked Steve. That's outside of the DMA. Dallas, it's kind of the same thing. I don't want to tailor too much into this because this is outside of the ArkLaTex. But essentially, if you're out towards Dallas, I believe it starts more on Friday. You can kind of see it on the west side of the screen there. Saturday morning, and it's pretty much Dallas is almost the same boat we are, with all this mixed precip through Saturday and through a good portion of Sunday morning. I think their storm coverage just ends a little earlier than ours on Sunday morning. Okay, next. What about Friday morning? Asked Corey. Great question. I love these kind of questions. Friday morning. Friday morning should be fine. Again, as stressed, I'll go into another future track. The earliest these storms come in here, just so you know, this. Hold up. Let me go back in time still. This is your Friday morning. This is still nice and dry. This is fine. You're not worried. It's pretty much the same conditions as what's out right now here for your Thursday, even going into your Friday morning. So Friday morning still fine. Therefore, you Corey. Tori, a lot of roads or high rises will be closed if icy. Yeah, Texarkana, unfortunately, is kind of is almost like if I had to choose a bullseye for this winter weather to go over, if I had to choose one, again, this is going to be affecting everybody, but especially some of these, let me go over some of these higher ice accumulation values. Don't take these to heart, but again, these are just showing where more and more ice could show up. And as of right now, it looks like areas towards the I-30 corridor in Texarkana is unfortunately getting the bullseye for the most amount of ice that could show up in the region, period. Again, everybody's getting some, but the worst of it, unfortunately, is what I'm trying to get at, is out towards Texarkana. Excuse me. Oh, man. A lot of talking today. McKenna, what about Webster Parish? So you can see on this graphic, again, Webster Parish still getting plenty of chances of ice in through the ArkLaTex there for you. I'm using our longer range future track so I can show you Sunday as well. Same thing. For Friday night, it's just rainy in Webster Parish. Once you get into Saturday, though, first thing in the morning, that's the turnover into the freezing rain, the sleet, and the ice. It carries on throughout the day on Saturday and even rolls into your Sunday morning, too. I know I'm going quick over these, but I got a lot of questions to ask and only got about 10 more minutes. We need the snow and ice in Shreveport, as says Zach. Snow, sure. Well, first of all, one of the good news about this, if you want good news at all, is that the burn bans and how dry we've been they've actually been lifted. One of them got lifted in Lafayette County in Arkansas actually early this morning. But ice, no. You never need ice. Lisa says 220, I-49 shut down first, and then I-20 is usually last to go. Yeah, to expect road closures, certainly, for this. I would be surprised if it did not happen. I got two comments in a row from Celeste in Travania. Yeah, I believe that's how you pronounce it. About Magnolia and Hope, Arkansas. So let's go just cover my bases for Arkansas. If you have any more specific questions just about like things other than timing, just let me know. But I'm just going over timing when you just give me like a specific town. It starts very briefly out as rain. Again, that's very briefly, but I think most of this coming through, period, is going to be pretty much mixed precip, even in Hope and Magnolia. And keep in mind, for the areas in southwestern Arkansas and our counties in southwestern Arkansas, this is where the Friday night and the Friday first alert weather day is really for you guys. Because the mixed precip starts on Friday night in Hope, in Magnolia. It starts Friday night. And look at the whole future track. Consistent mixed precip coming through southwestern Arkansas until maybe the tail end getting some snow, but not until Sunday morning. So you're dealing with almost 36 hours of consistent freezing rain and all that mixed precip, especially on top of our southwestern Arkansas counties. All right. How bad is it going to be in Spring Hill? Asked McKenna. I'll just bring up the ice accumulation. Unfortunately, everywhere it's looking pretty bad here for you, but it starts mainly in Spring Hill, more towards Saturday here for you. Again, most of Friday should be fine. It's Saturday is kind of the action day. Saturday is kind of the bullseye day for everything to happen. And even then, we're still going to get a couple more pockets of, not pockets, I shouldn't describe it as that, but we're still going to get more consistent ice coming through, even for Sunday morning itself, too. Okay, hopefully that answers your question there. Tori, will we be able to drive down south to New Orleans by Wednesday or Thursday of next week? I need to leave before next Friday's possible snow. I have not even mentioned that at all. I know I've seen some weather models here for 2 weekends from now. I don't want to discuss that at all on the stream, unfortunately. But to answer your question, Do you think you're going to be able to travel to New Orleans by Wednesday of next week? Yes, I do think so. Let's go into that 7-day forecast here for you real quick to kind of demonstrate my point. Come on. Work with me. Sorry, I got to scroll a little bit. There we go. All right. So I think melting after this comes on through. I think a little bit of it's going to happen on Monday, but I think a lot of it's going to happen more towards Tuesday and Wednesday when those highs actually get well above freezing, more into the 40s and 50s there for you. That's going to help out tremendously. So if you're traveling specifically on Wednesday, I think Tuesday's weather is going to help you out a lot to be able to travel on Wednesday. In fact, I was looking to travel Wednesday myself up next week too. So I think you should be okay to go to New Orleans. That's a great question, though. All right. Justin, quick question because I just joined. How's Shreveport forecast going to look in the next few days? We'll go over the Shreveport time frame. I'll go into the Shreveport specific forecast here for you, and then we'll go over the future track. Give me a sec. So yeah, Justin, for you, Shreveport, Friday, it is going to be a rainy night. Rainy night, a little bit, but even you notice Friday itself doesn't really concern you much, so to speak. You don't have that mixed precipitation coming in until you wake up on Saturday at the earliest. Even then, I'm expecting rain almost into the overnight a little bit into Saturday, but Saturday itself is when everything starts going downhill, essentially, and that's even going to carry on into your Sunday until, again, we all collectively, everybody, gets rid of their precipitation again by midday Sunday. So, to go over that on the future track here one more time, specifically for Shreveport, there's the rainy start that starts on Friday night, and then it's going to slowly but surely be converted over to mixed precip through time, which mainly happens during the day on Saturday and then continues into Sunday morning before we let loose finally by middle of the day on Sunday. All right, I'm getting closer in time to these comments. I got 9 minutes ago from Jenny. What are you thinking as far as Carthage? So, again, everybody's getting in on this ice. There's no dodging it. I think the best chances for getting the least amount of ice are down towards Natchitoches and Nacogdoches, mainly because they're hanging around with a rainy day throughout most of Saturday. Excuse me. Now, Carthage, I mean, you're down in the southern end of the ArkLaTex, so if anything, you're kind of getting a little bit on the better side of the system here, but still some mixed precip coming through for you. I'd watch out mostly between Saturday night and Sunday morning. That's the time frame to mainly watch out for. But even before then, it's still going to be very rainy at the very least throughout the day on Saturday. So still, again, not a great weekend to get out and around anywhere around the region here for you. All right, Miller County, McKenzie. So, yeah, further north you are, the worse, unfortunately, it is. And for Miller County, some of this mixed precip could start as early as Friday night, but it looks like most of Miller County, to be fair, you're threading a needle with the mixed precip in Miller County if it actually gets in there for Friday night, but it's definitely going to start in the overnight hours, Friday into Saturday, and then throughout the day Saturday and throughout the morning hours on Sunday until we finally all dry up. I got 5 more minutes, and then I got to say goodbye. Texarkana getting anything? Yes, they are. You're going fishing, you need to know. Texarkana will be getting the bulk of the mixed precipitation starting on Friday night, as just discussed, next to Miller County, and it goes all the way again through Sunday morning. Oh, man. Atlanta, Texas, from Russell. So Atlanta, Texas, Cass County here for you. Let's go over the future track one more time. Backtrack. There's Atlanta. Starts out as rain, it looks like, for Friday night. And then same thing. You're kind of on the border of if the mixed precipitation is going to get down further south to you on Friday night. It looks like it isn't, but we'll see. So Friday during the day in Atlanta is still fine. Friday night, definitely getting some rain first and foremost, but late at night is when I'd start watching out for that mixed precip. And then it's going to be all day on Saturday. That mixed precip coming on in consistently all day Saturday. And then Sunday in the morning hours, it still continues on before finally starting to let itself again loose by the middle of the day. Okay, Texarkana. I just went over Texarkana. I'm sorry, Michael. But essentially, same thing as Atlanta. You're getting over most of the mixed precip again from Friday night all the way through Sunday morning. Yasmin, what time do you think it will hit Blanchard and Shreveport? Because you have a funeral to attend at 5 p.m. Friday. You're fine. You're fine going out to the funeral. To be fair, you might get rain. Let me show you the timestamp with another future track here for Friday afternoon, late afternoon, really quickly. That's Saturday. This is Friday at. Oh shoot! I accidentally clicked the button. My bad. So this is the snapshot at Friday at 5 p.m. You see effects, the precipitation starting to get into the northern end of the ArkLaTex. That's the northern end. That's going to be, again, an I-30 and northward problem starting around 5, 6 o'clock late in the afternoon. So kind of mentioning this, if you want to get home a little earlier in spots of the I-30 corridor up northward, please do so before that mixed precip comes on in. But for Shreveport alone, on Friday, attend the funeral. You'll be fine. If anything, you're going to get rain late at night. But during the day on Friday, Shreveport should be okay. Webster, will we get help if our roads get bad out here like they did in 2021? I can't answer to any logistical questions, but to weather questions, unfortunately, yes, you are getting a good amount of ice out towards there. Hopefully, the job is done as best they can. Obviously, it's going to be very difficult with the amount of accumulation of ice, which can reach over an inch in some places. So watch out. And just so you know, all it takes, again, is a ½ inch of ice to make roads hazardous and to make power outages possible. Or I should say likely. Just join. How about Avenger, Texas? So East Texas there for you, Josh. Let me go over the future track. We'll go over this one here for you. East Texas, I mean, if you're Northeast Texas, you might start out as mixed precip late on Friday night, but most of East Texas should actually get rain, if anything, here for your Friday night plans. So essentially, again, Friday's fine, but for East Texas, it really starts coming down here for Saturday. All day Saturday, you see how consistent these lines are coming on through, and for Sunday as well in the morning hours. So don't plan for anything on the weekend days of, but if you have any plans Friday night, they should be fine. Should be fine. All right. Magnolia. Is Magnolia still on the border? Hold up. I missed one from Kylie. Kylie asked about Natchitoches. Natchitoches is probably in one of the best spots you can be in the ArkLaTex, but that doesn't mean they're not getting anything because, again, everybody is catching in on the mixed precipitation. And I like to use this future track just a little bit more because this shows the end of it. For Natchitoches, rain starts showing up on Saturday morning, but if you notice, it's mostly raining in Natchitoches, actually, and Many. I know you said Many/Natchitoches. It's still raining across the southern edge of the ArkLaTex throughout the entirety of Saturday here for the most part. So Saturday plans, if you have them and if you need to travel, I think you're okay. Is it wise to travel out still in a day full of complete rain? No. Is it wise to do anything outdoors? Definitely not. Still in those kind of areas, but essentially what I'm trying to get at is if you live in Many and Natchitoches, you're mainly watching out for Sunday morning. Sunday morning is when all of that ice and that mixed precip and the sleet and the freezing rain comes through just in that time slot alone. Again, Sunday morning. Just in Many and Natchitoches. I believe I had something about Magnolia. Magnolia, I see somebody asking about Texarkana. Somebody says thank you. 2 people say thank you. You're welcome. Absolutely. Ice accumulation for the mooring sport area. I'll go over that, and I'll go over Texarkana, and then I got to end the stream. Where? Graphics. Mooring sport. Ice accumulation. So here we go. Ice accumulation. Again, nothing on Friday. Everything is on Saturday for you there. I know this doesn't include mooring sport, but these are the towns nearby. Again, you're looking at around an inch, which unfortunately looks to be devastating in some areas, including power outages likely and travel very hazardous where you can't even do travel at all. Last thing I'll go over is Texarkana. Again, you notice the ice accumulation in spots of Texarkana and Magnolia starting to accumulate beginning on Friday night. So it starts as soon as Friday night, and unfortunately, you guys have the bullseye of kind of this whole winter system. Everybody's getting in on it, but the bullseye, the system for the most impacts are coming, unfortunately, for the I-30 corridor, including most of our southwestern Arkansas counties, including Magnolia and Texarkana, to where, yes, you could get an intense amount of ice. I'll go over the future track one more time here with you. Again, it starts Friday night in those areas between Texarkana and Magnolia, and it continues persistently throughout the day on Saturday. and throughout Sunday as well. So make sure you're in place in Texarkana and Magnolia. Make sure you're in place after heading home from work and school on Friday. During the day should be fine for most of the day. Things start coming in the late afternoon hours for you there. All right, I got to end off the stream. If you want more details, noon show is coming up in about 5 minutes on the live stream on KSLA.com, which some of you are watching on right now. I'm meteorologist Evan Thomason signing off here at this hour with plenty more details, plenty more updates throughout the day today. Thank you very much for watching. One more episode of the First Alert Weather Breakdown or Weather Podcast will be on tomorrow. Stay tuned for that. Be there, be square, and most importantly, especially during this time, stay weather aware. Have a great rest of your day. Peace.